Moon of the Last Alpha, Chapter 7. The Silver Wolf Awakens. The Crimson Eye and the Storm watched the battlefield. No one moved, not the werewolves, not the Bloodborne, not even the Alpha. It felt as though the world itself had stopped breathing. The eye was enormous, far larger than any creature should have been. And yet Ethan somehow knew it wasn't physically there. It was watching from somewhere else, somewhere beyond the world. The moment stretched endlessly. Then the eye blinked. The clouds exploded. Thunder shook the mountains. The vision vanished. The storm disappeared as suddenly as it had arrived. The battlefield returned. The Bloodborne screamed, not in triumph, in fear. They immediately began retreating, every single one, running, fleeing, as though the appearance of the eye had terrified them more than death itself. Within moments, they vanished into the forest, leaving behind only bodies and silence. The Alpha stared into the sky. His face had become stone. Impossible. Lyra approached him. You know what that was. The giant werewolf remained silent. Tell us. Still nothing. Finally, Celine stepped forward. Father. The Alpha closed his eyes. When he opened them again, Ethan saw genuine fear. Not fear for himself. Fear for everyone. The eye belongs to an ancient being. The camp waited. A creature older than werewolves. Older than humans. Older than kingdoms. The fire crackled softly. Nobody interrupted. It existed before recorded history. Ethan felt cold despite the flames. What is it called? The Alpha hesitated, then whispered the name. Fenris. Even speaking it seemed wrong. The air itself felt heavier. That night nobody slept. The survivors rebuilt the camp. The wounded were treated. The dead were buried. But fear remained. The Crimson Eye haunted everyone's thoughts, especially Ethan's. He sat alone near the edge of camp. The mark on his wrist glowed faintly beneath the moonlight. Questions filled his mind. Too many questions, and almost no answers. You carry a heavy burden. Ethan looked up. Celine stood nearby, wrapped in a dark cloak. The moon illuminated her face. For a moment she looked less like a warrior and more like a girl her age, someone who should have been living a normal life. Instead she was preparing for war, like everyone else. You should be sleeping, Ethan said. She laughed softly. So should you. Fair point. For a while neither spoke. The silence felt comfortable, strangely comfortable. Then Celine sat beside him. Their shoulders almost touched. Are you afraid? She asked. Ethan considered lying. Instead he answered honestly. Terrified. She smiled. Good. He looked at her. Good? The brave people are usually the scared ones. That doesn't make any sense. It does. Celine looked toward the stars. The people who aren't afraid stop being careful. Ethan chuckled. My father used to say something similar. A sad smile crossed his face. I miss him. Then we'll make sure you see him again. The confidence in her voice surprised him. What if we fail? Celine's gray eyes met his. Then we'll fail together. Neither looked away. For several seconds the rest of the world disappeared. The war. The prophecy. The monsters. Everything. Then a howl echoed through the mountains. The moment ended. Reality returned, and neither spoke of it again. Later that night Ethan dreamed, or perhaps it wasn't a dream. He stood within an endless silver forest. Moonlight illuminated every tree, every leaf, every blade of grass. Silence surrounded him, peaceful, ancient. Then a massive figure emerged between the trees, the silver wolf, larger than ever. Its fur glowed like starlight. Its eyes held entire centuries within them. The time approaches. The voice echoed inside Ethan's mind. What time? The choosing. What does that mean? The wolf stepped closer. Its enormous head lowered. Soon the bloodline must awaken completely. Ethan's heart quickened. What happens then? The wolf remained silent, and somehow that silence frightened him more than any answer. Power demands sacrifice. The forest darkened. Every alpha pays a price. What price? The wolf's gaze softened, almost sadly. That choice belongs to you. Then the dream shattered. Ethan awoke at sunrise and discovered the mark on his wrist had changed. A second crescent had appeared beside the first. The awakening was accelerating. Chapter 8. The Ruins of Kings. The journey continued, day after day, northward toward Moonfang Citadel, toward destiny, toward war. The mountains gradually grew larger. The air became colder, and strange things began appearing along the road. Ancient ruins, broken statues, collapsed fortresses, evidence of civilizations long forgotten. 3 days later they reached the Valley of Kings. Everyone stopped, even the Alpha. The sight before them was breathtaking. Gigantic stone monuments covered the valley floor, hundreds of them, perhaps thousands, weathered by time, each depicting an ancient ruler, warriors, queens, alphas, legends, the remains of a lost age. What happened here? Ethan asked. Lyra answered quietly. History. The sadness in her voice was obvious. They all fought Ragnar. Ethan looked around. So many. Yes. Did any survive? No. The valley suddenly felt much larger and much sadder. As they traveled deeper into the ruins, Ethan noticed something unusual. One statue remained intact, unlike the others, untouched by time, untouched by destruction. A silver monument towering nearly 50 feet high, a warrior holding a sword toward the heavens. A wolf standing beside him. Ethan stopped. His breath caught. The warrior looked familiar, very familiar. The face was his, or close enough, not identical, but unmistakably related. An ancestor, an Alpha King. At the base of the statue, ancient words had been carved into stone. The language was unfamiliar, yet somehow Ethan could read it. The moment his eyes touched the text, the meaning appeared in his mind. Here stood Arden, first of the silver blood, last hope of the moon. The ground suddenly trembled. Everyone froze. Another tremor followed, stronger, then another. The entire valley shook. Birds exploded from the ruins. Horses panicked. Warriors drew weapons. Something was coming. A crack split the earth, then another, then dozens more. The valley floor shattered. Stone monuments collapsed. Dust filled the sky, and from beneath the ruins emerged a colossal creature. At first, Ethan couldn't understand what he was seeing. It was too large, too impossible. A wolf, a gigantic wolf, covered in black scales. Its eyes burned crimson. Its body alone was larger than a castle. The creature opened its jaws. Rows of teeth as large as swords gleamed in the sunlight. The Alpha's face turned pale. Run! Nobody moved. The giant werewolf actually shouted. The monster roared. The sound shattered statues, cracked stone, knocked warriors off their feet. The valley descended into chaos. And as Ethan stared into the creature's crimson eyes, he realized something horrifying. This wasn't Fenris. This wasn't Ragnar. This wasn't even the true enemy. This was merely a guardian, a guard dog, protecting something far worse, deep beneath the northern mountains, waiting, sleeping, dreaming. For now. To be continued in Chapter 9, The Guardian of the Abyss. Alpha. Chapter 9, The Guardian of the Abyss. The valley erupted into chaos. Ancient statues that had stood for thousands of years collapsed as the colossal beast climbed from the depths beneath the earth. Stone shattered. Dust filled the sky. The creature's roar rolled across the mountains like an earthquake. Ethan stared upward in disbelief. The monster was enormous. Its shoulders alone towered above the tallest monuments. Black scales covered its body instead of fur. Crimson veins pulsed beneath its skin like rivers of molten fire. Its eyes burned with ancient hatred. And yet something about it felt wrong. Not evil, enslaved, as if it had been forced into this existence. The Alpha looked more frightened than Ethan had ever seen him. We can't fight that. No one argued. The surviving warriors were already retreating. Even the strongest werewolves backed away. The monster took a single step forward. The ground cracked beneath its weight. Another roar followed. This one was different. Not a warning. A challenge. Then the creature looked directly at Ethan. Everything stopped. The noise, the panic, the confusion. Its massive crimson eyes locked onto him. The monster suddenly became still, almost curious. The mark on Ethan's wrist began burning. Silver light flowed through his arm. The creature growled, not aggressively, almost as if it recognized something or someone. "Ethan!" Lyra shouted. "Move!" The beast lunged. The valley exploded beneath its claws. Ethan barely escaped. Stone fragments shot through the air like arrows. A nearby monument shattered completely. The creature's claws narrowly missed him. The impact left a crater 40 feet wide. The monster roared again. This time its eyes glowed brighter. The crimson veins spreading beneath its scales intensified. Something was controlling it. Something powerful. Something far away. The blood chains, the Alpha growled. What? The creature's enslaved. The Alpha's eyes narrowed. Ragnar's magic. The realization hit everyone. The Guardian wasn't attacking because it wanted to. It was attacking because it was being forced to. The monster charged again. This time Ethan didn't run. Something deep within him awakened, a feeling, an instinct, a memory that wasn't his own. The world slowed. The mark blazed silver. Moonlight erupted around him. The giant spirit wolf appeared once more, larger than ever before. The battlefield froze. Even the colossal guardian stopped moving. The spirit wolf stepped forward. Its glowing eyes met the guardian's crimson gaze. For a long moment, neither moved. Then the impossible happened. The guardian lowered its head. The entire valley fell silent. The giant beast had bowed, not to Ethan, to the spirit within him, to the silver wolf. A voice echoed through Ethan's mind. Not the spirit wolf, the guardian. Its voice sounded ancient, tired, broken. Help me. Ethan froze. The creature was speaking. Free me. The words carried centuries of suffering. Please. Before Ethan could respond, crimson energy exploded across the guardian's body. The beast screamed, not in rage, in agony. The crimson chains controlling it tightened. The creature's eyes turned blood red once more. Its brief moment of freedom vanished. Ragnar had reclaimed control. The guardian attacked, and this time it attacked with everything it had. The valley became a war zone. Werewolves scattered, mountains trembled, ancient ruins crumbled. The beast smashed through entire rows of monuments. Nothing could stop it. Nothing except Ethan. Without fully understanding why, he raised his hand. The silver mark glowed. The spirit wolf roared. A beam of silver light shot toward the guardian. The creature staggered. The crimson chains appeared briefly across its body. Visible, physical, breakable. The chains, shouted Lyra. Destroy them. Every warrior attacked at once. Silver weapons, magic, arrows, claws. The chains began one by one. The guardian roared. The crimson control weakened. Then finally, snap! The final chain shattered. The valley exploded with silver light. The guardian collapsed. The crimson glow vanished from its eyes. For several moments, nobody moved. Then the enormous creature slowly stood. Its eyes were no longer red. They glowed gold, peaceful, ancient, free. The guardian lowered itself before Ethan, a gesture of gratitude, a gesture of respect. And then it spoke one final time. The prison weakens. Fear gripped Ethan. What prison? The guardian looked north, toward the mountains, toward Moonfang's citadel, toward something buried beneath the world. The first beast awakens. Without another word, the guardian turned and disappeared into the northern wilderness, leaving behind silence and dread. Chapter 10. Moonfang Citadel. 3 days later, they reached the mountains. No one spoke much during the journey. The guardian's warning haunted them. The prison weakens. The first beast awakens. Even Ragnar feared it. That alone terrified Ethan. The mountains of Moonfang rose higher than anything he had ever seen. Gigantic silver peaks pierced the clouds. Frozen waterfalls hung like crystal curtains. Ancient forests clung to steep cliffs. The entire range seemed unreal, a place from legend, a place forgotten by time. Then Ethan saw it. Moonfang Citadel. The fortress was colossal, built directly into the heart of the largest mountain. Its towers stretched toward the heavens. Its walls appeared indestructible. Gigantic wolf statues guarded its gates, each large enough to crush entire armies. Ancient banners still fluttered, despite centuries of abandonment. The sight left everyone speechless. "Welcome home," the Alpha whispered. As they approached, something strange happened. The mark on Ethan's wrist began glowing, brighter, brighter, brighter. The massive gates trembled, stone groaned, ancient mechanisms awakened. Then slowly, the gates opened, for the first time in hundreds of years. Inside lay a forgotten kingdom, massive halls, ancient libraries, training grounds, gardens frozen in time, everything preserved, waiting as if the citadel had known Ethan would come. For days they explored. Ancient records revealed truths long buried. The first Alpha had not merely ruled werewolves. He had united humans and wolves alike. His kingdom had lasted nearly 1,000 years, until Ragnar's betrayal. The deeper Ethan searched, the stranger things became. Voices echoed through empty corridors. Silver lights appeared where none should exist. Shadows moved independently. The citadel was alive, not literally, but spiritually, filled with memories, filled with ghosts. Then came the discovery. Deep beneath the fortress, far below even the oldest foundations, a sealed chamber, hidden behind 7 ancient doors, each marked with the same symbol as Ethan's wrist. The moment he touched the first door, it opened, then the second, then the third, one after another, until finally they reached the last chamber. At its center stood a throne, Upon the throne rested a silver crown, and behind the throne, something slept. At first, Ethan thought it was a statue. Then it blinked. A gigantic golden eye opened. The same eye from the prophecy, the same eye from the future vision, the same eye Ragnar feared. The creature slowly emerged from the darkness, and everyone froze, even the Alpha, even Lyra, even Selene. The being was immense, far larger than any werewolf. Its fur shimmered like liquid gold. Its body radiated moonlight. Ancient scars covered its form. Its eyes held the weight of countless centuries. The creature looked directly at Ethan. Then it spoke. Its voice shook the entire mountain. At last. The citadel trembled. Ancient magic awakened. The world itself seemed to listen. The creature lowered its massive head and said the words that changed everything. I am Fenris. Silence. Absolute silence. The legendary first beast, the creature every race believed was a myth, the being feared even by Ragnar, was real, and it had been sleeping beneath Moonfang's citadel all along. Then Fenris looked into Ethan's eyes, and his expression became grave. The war you fear is not the true war. A chill swept through the chamber. What do you mean? Fenris closed his eyes. For the first time, Ethan saw fear. Not in a man, not in a king, but in a being older than civilization itself. Because something is coming. The mountain shook violently. Far away, beyond the northern horizon, a crack appeared across the sky itself. Not a storm, not lightning, a tear, a wound in reality. And from the darkness beyond that wound, something looked back, to be continued in chapter 11, Beyond the Broken Sky. The Last Alpha, chapter 11, Beyond the Broken Sky. The tear in the heavens widened. Everyone in the chamber felt it, not with their eyes, with their souls. It was as though reality itself had suffered a wound. Far above Moonfang's citadel, the sky had split open like shattered glass. Darkness churned beyond the crack, deeper than any night and older than any star. Fenris stared upward. The ancient beast's golden eyes narrowed. For the first time since Ethan had met him, Fenris looked truly worried. Not cautious, not concerned, afraid. The chamber trembled. Ancient stone cracked. Dust dripped from the ceiling. Somewhere far above, alarm bells began ringing throughout the citadel. Warriors shouted. Commands echoed. Chaos spread. What is that? Ethan asked. Fenris remained silent. The giant beast slowly turned toward him. Moonlight seemed to gather around his golden fur. Ancient power radiated from him. When he finally spoke, his voice carried the weight of forgotten ages. It is the scar. The what? The wound Ragnar created. The room became silent. Even Lyra seemed stunned. A wound? Ethan asked. Fenris nodded. Long before Ragnar became the Crimson King, he searched for power. We know that part. You know only fragments. The giant beast's gaze shifted toward the darkness beyond the crack. He searched beneath mountains. He searched beneath oceans. He searched within forgotten ruins. But eventually he searched somewhere no living creature was ever meant to look. The chamber darkened. The torches flickered. He searched beyond reality itself. A chill swept through everyone. Selene swallowed. What did he find? Fenris hesitated, then spoke a single word. The void. Even the name felt wrong, like a splinter beneath the mind. The void exists outside creation. It existed before the world, before moonlight, before stars, before life. Ethan felt his heart pounding. And something lives there. Nobody spoke. Nobody wanted to. Fenris looked away. The oldest enemy. The mountain trembled violently. Far above, the crack in the sky widened further. Darkness spilled from it like smoke. Something was trying to enter. Something enormous. Far beyond the citadel, thousands of miles away, Ragnar stood atop a black fortress. His crimson eyes locked onto the wound in the heavens. A smile touched his face. Not a happy smile. Not a triumphant smile. A desperate smile. The smile of someone whose worst fear had finally come true. No, the Crimson King whispered. No, no, no. His generals looked confused. My king? Ragnar's eyes never left the sky. He's waking. For the first time in centuries, the Crimson King was afraid. Eniteh, the hidden library. 3 days passed. Moonfang's citadel became a fortress preparing for war. Messengers traveled constantly. Armies arrived from every direction. Humans, werewolves, hunters, entire kingdoms answered the call. Yet despite the growing armies, Ethan couldn't shake a feeling of unease. The answers remained incomplete. One evening, Fenris summoned him, alone. The ancient beast led Ethan deep beneath the citadel, further than before, past sealed doors, past forgotten halls, past places untouched for thousands of years. Eventually, they reached a chamber unlike any Ethan had seen. Books filled the room, millions of them. Ancient scrolls, stone tablets, golden records, knowledge from lost civilizations. The hidden library. Fenris's voice echoed softly. Ethan stared in amazement. Everything we learned about the enemy is here. The enemy, not Ragnar. The thing beyond the sky. Fenris approached a stone pedestal. Upon it rested a black book. Unlike everything else in the room, it seemed to absorb light. The Book of Endings. Ethan touched it. Immediately visions flooded his mind. Worlds burning, stars dying, entire civilizations vanishing, mountains collapsing, oceans boiling. Then he saw it. A giant figure standing within endless darkness, impossible to fully comprehend, impossible to measure, impossible to understand. It had no true shape, only shadows, eyes, endless eyes, and all those eyes opened at once. Ethan screamed. The vision vanished. He staggered backward, breathing hard. What was that? Fenris looked grim. The thing imprisoned beyond reality. Ethan's blood turned cold. Does it have a name? Fenris nodded slowly. It has many. The beast closed his eyes. But the oldest name is Nox. Chapter 12. The daughter of the Alpha Winter arrived early. Snow covered the mountains surrounding Moonfang's citadel. The world became white and silent. For a brief time, the war seemed distant, almost peaceful, almost. Ethan stood upon one of the citadel's highest balconies. Snow drifted through the air. Far below, thousands of soldiers trained, preparing, waiting. Yet his thoughts weren't focused on war. They were focused on Celine. The last few months had changed everything. They had fought together, survived together, lost friends together. And every day she seemed more important to him. You've been staring into space for 10 minutes. Ethan turned. Celine stood behind him, smiling. Was it that obvious? Painfully obvious. For the first time in weeks, Ethan laughed, a real laugh. The sound surprised both of them. Life had become so serious, so dangerous. Moments like this felt rare. Celine joined him at the balcony. Snow landed softly in her dark hair. Moonlight reflected in her gray eyes. Neither spoke for a while. Eventually, Celine broke the silence. Do you ever wish none of this happened? Ethan smiled sadly. Every day. She nodded. Me too. The confession surprised him. You? My father leads armies. Her smile faded. The world thinks I'm some kind of warrior princess. Aren't you? She laughed. Maybe. Then her expression softened. But sometimes I wish I could just be Celine. For a long moment, Ethan looked at her. Not the daughter of the Alpha. Not a warrior. Not a symbol. Just Celine. Without thinking, he reached for her hand. She didn't pull away. The snow continued falling around them. The world seemed to disappear. Then a horn sounded. The moment shattered. A messenger sprinted across the courtyard below. Ragnar approaches. Everything changed instantly. The peace was over. The war had arrived. Chapter 13. The Crimson King's Truth. The gates of Moonfang's citadel opened. Thousands of warriors gathered upon the walls. The largest army in history assembled beneath the mountain, and at its head stood Ragnar. The Crimson King rode alone. No army beside him, no guards, no generals. Just Ragnar. The sight unsettled everyone. Why would he come here alone? Lyra asked. Fenris narrowed his eyes. Because he isn't here to fight. Ragnar stopped before the gates. Snow fell around him. The wind howled, yet somehow he seemed completely untouched by the cold. Then he spoke. I seek parley. The ancient word echoed across the battlefield. No one moved. Finally, Ethan stepped forward. The gates opened slightly, enough for Ragnar to enter. Thousands of weapons followed his every movement, yet Ragnar appeared unconcerned. His crimson eyes settled on Ethan. For several moments neither spoke. Then Ragnar sighed. You look exactly like him. Like who? The first Alpha. Silence. The Crimson King looked tired, ancient, far older than he appeared. Then he said something nobody expected. I'm sorry. The entire courtyard froze. What? Ethan asked. Ragnar lowered his head. For everything. Nobody understood. Not Ethan. Not Celine. Not Fenris. Nobody. Then Ragnar revealed the truth. I never wanted the power. Silence. I never wanted immortality. The snow continued falling. I never wanted the void. Fear filled his eyes. Real fear. I only wanted to save my people. The world seemed to stop. Fenris stepped forward. Explain. Ragnar looked toward the broken sky, toward the widening crack, toward the darkness beyond. Thousands of years of guilt filled his voice. When I found the void, his hands trembled. It was already awake. Nobody spoke. Nobody breathed. Ragnar looked directly at Ethan. The thing beyond the sky didn't corrupt me. The Crimson King's expression darkened. It was using me. Far above Moonfang's citadel, the crack suddenly widened. A deafening roar echoed across the heavens. The stars vanished. Darkness spread. And for the first time, a massive shadow began emerging from the wound in reality. Nox had found the door. To be continued in Chapter 14, The Fall of the Sky.